Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, with my brethren all around the world watching this video. As you can see by the title, we're going to be talking about Mr. Alexander Usyk, fresh off his win, about a week fresh off his win, um, destroying Tony Bellew in the 8th round. Really competitive fight. Usyk showed though why he has why he has a legitimate claim now, maybe be the greatest cruiserweight of all time. Some people would still argue for Holyfield. With Usyk's accomplishments at cruiserweight, it's kind of hard to ignore him and not acknowledge him, or not at least for him not to have that claim or be in the top two. So big shouts out to his whole run at cruiserweight because it was a special run. But now in his career, there really isn't anything left to do at cruiserweight. So now with Usyk, the question is being asked, about heavyweight, fighting Anthony Joshua, and going that route, which I think, he's expressed many times in the past. He wants to fight Anthony Joshua. He's been studying him since the Olympics. He really wants that fight, and that's a massive jump for him. With that being said, though, now matchups at heavyweight are being discussed. Joshua, Dillian White, Joseph Parker, guys like that. Those names being thrown out there. But honestly, I think Usyk needs to ease his way into the weight class. And I think there's one fight that I really haven't heard a lot of boxing fans or analysts talk about that I think makes the most sense for Alexander Usyk. And I think it'll be a good, healthy challenge, and it'll be the right fight to get him acclimated to the weight. So basically, as you can see by the title, this video is why Alexander Usyk versus Bryant Jennings is the ideal first fight at heavyweight for Alexander Usyk. Now, Bryant Jennings, I would definitely say, is a respectable heavyweight. He's not a special talent, but he's someone who comes to fight. He's someone who always keeps himself very well in shape, well conditioned. He's been in there with big heavyweight names. From the Klitschko's and Louis Ortiz's of the world to your Mike Perez's, your Artur Spilka's, Joey Dwayko's, Alexander Dimitrenko. He's been in there with lots of different levels of heavyweights, from the best of the best to your fringe contenders to your contenders to your journeyman, respectable journeyman. He's been in there, and he's carved out a solid career for himself. Now, it is worth noting that according to BoxRec, I'm only going by BoxRec. I haven't actually done, be honest with you, I haven't done any research on this. I'm just going by BoxRec. Supposedly, Bryant Jennings has a fight scheduled on January the 18th at the Turning Stone Casino in Verona, New York. So, with that being said, Usyk just fought. It's November now, so you would think he's fighting in January. Usyk might not want to fight. I don't know. I think the Jennings fight makes so much sense. Just going off of. Because when I first started hearing him talk about moving up to heavyweight, I immediately thought they should go the Bryant Jennings route for a multitude of reasons. We'll start off with just stylistically, and the dimensions of Bryant Jennings in comparison to Alexander Usyk and why it makes sense. So Bryant Jennings is a heavyweight, but as far as in terms of size, he's not the biggest heavyweight in the world. He's I would even say maybe average or slightly undersized for the weight, but he's very well conditioned. He comes to fights again. He's got very long arms, which always makes him a competitive fight for anybody in the division. And I just think it's the right guy in the division for Usyk to fight. It won't be too big of a jump up, and he'll get the easiest way in. And I think if you want to see Usyk fight Joshua, if you want to see him fight the top level heavyweights, you should want to see him build up gradually, like a lot of guys in the past have. For example, even though I'm not a fan of him, and I criticized him for it when he did this, because people wanted to say he was pound number one, but that's a whole different story. Andre Ward, before he fought Kovalev at light heavyweight, he was able to get his fights again against the Paul Smiths of the world, Alexander Brands, and I would even say at light heavyweight, that's a much lower level at light heavyweight than Bryant Jennings is at heavyweight. So it's the right fight, and not just that. More importantly than it being the right fight for Usyk, it's not an easy fight. He might make it look easy because I think he's just a better fighter than Bryant Jennings. But nobody other than Luis Ortiz has really gone in there and just demolished Bryant Jennings like that. And even the Lewis Ortiz fight, I think Jennings gave a solid account of himself. So I think if he was in there, go in there and just outclass and destroy Bryant Jennings' first fight, that'd be a massive statement to the whole entire heavyweight division. That's number one. Number two, it is also worth noting that as of right now, I'm talking to you at November 16th. Hold on. Looking at the computer. November the 16th. Bryant Jennings is a highly ranked. He's very highly ranked in the WBO. He's actually ranked. Hold on. He's actually ranked number 2 in the WBO. Bryant Jennings is just behind Dillian White in the WBO. He is not ranked. Let's see. He's not ranked in the. Oh wow! Scratch that. He is ranked. He's ranked number 7 by the WBA, and he's ranked number 13th by the WBC. So he's a top 15, at least top 15 ranked contender in 3 of the 4. Scratch that. He is a top 15 ranked contender in all 4 of the major sanctioning bodies. So he's number 2 in the WBO. He's number 9 in the IBF. He's number 7 in the WBA, and he's number 13 in the WBC. These are all 4 sanctioning bodies he's ranked in. So if Usyk goes in there and he beats Bryant Jennings, he will automatically get some sort of ranking position in any one of these sanctioning bodies. And being that Jennings is ranked in all 4 sanctioning bodies, it's automatically going to mean that he's going to be ranked highly in the WBO. It's going to mean he's ranked in the IBF. It's going to mean he's ranked in the WBA. And those are the 3 titles that Anthony Joshua currently has. So if you're looking for the Anthony Joshua fight, you need to start beating people that are within that are high or highly ranked or just within that top 10 pecking order of these sanctioning body rankings. And Bryant Jennings fits the bill. So style-wise, it makes sense. If you want to go the Joshua route, it makes sense. And honestly, there really are no other reasons why. Those are enough reasons right there to go after Bryant Jennings if you're Alexander Usyk, because dimensions, as far as dimensions go, he would have a 6-inch reach advantage against Alexander Usyk. So you would get to fight a long, rangy heavyweight, which would be what you'd want to do early on. So that way, he's an amateur, he's got experience, but you want him to do that early on, so that way he can get accustomed to the weight, feel what it's like to get hit by a heavyweight. Then on top of that, the guy is ranked highly in all the sanctioning bodies that Joshua holds titles for. So you want this Joshua fight? I think this is the one of the first things you need to be thinking about is fighting a guy like Bryant Jennings. So I really don't have much more to say than that. I really think it'd be a good test for Usyk. From the Jennings side of things too, Jennings has been someone. If we go back and look at his career, because I don't want to be one-sided with just talk about Usyk. From the Jennings side of things, his last loss came December of 2015 when he got blasted out the ring by Lewis Ortiz, and since then he's been taking gradual fights, building up his record. He's fought like heavyweight journeymen like Daniel Marge, Joey DeWaco, fought Alexander Dimitrenko in his last fight and got a TKO victory, which I think is probably his best win since the Ortiz fight. So you don't know if Bryant Jennings will be so quick to just jump at a Usyk fight, but if they pay him the right amount of money, you don't know. So I think it'd be a good opportunity for Bryant Jennings for himself to try to make a statement in the heavyweight division. Kind of a welcome to the big boy division. He can go that route, and if he get upset Usyk, then he'd be in line for some major fights. He might be looking at the Joshua fight, so it could be a big thing for Bryant Jennings as well. And obviously, I would definitely say that in this fight, he would definitely go in as an underdog, because not even just in terms of dimensions, like he's not much bigger than Usyk. He's not an incredibly big heavyweight, but if we just go by skill set, right? I think Bryant Jennings, and I'm just gonna be honest with you, I have respect for Bryant Jennings, but I think Bryant Jennings is a perfect example in boxing these days of fighters that are like for example, boxing is in a weird place these days, because while the fighters in boxing have become more athletic in terms of their athletic abilities, their technique has declined. And I would say in terms of pure boxing technique and fundamentals, boxing is at a low right now. There really aren't many great technical fighters right now. There isn't. And Bryant Jennings has been one of those guys who doesn't really do, no disrespect from him, he doesn't do any one thing great in the ring. He does a lot of things good or okay, but nothing really great or stand out. But what carries him through a lot of his fights and a lot of his big fights is his athletic ability. So that would be interesting to see. You know, Alexander Usyk match up with an athletic, long, rangy heavyweight who just so happens to be ranked in all 4 of the sanctioning bodies. So I think just if I was Usyk's manager, I'm jumping all over this fight. I'm on the phone with whomever I gotta get on the phone with, and I'm trying to make the Bryant Jennings fight. But that's just me. You guys let me know in the comments down below. Who do you think Alexander Usyk should fight in this first fight at heavyweight? I think the Bryant Jennings fight is the ideal route to go. But I know that there's obviously bigger names, more attractive options. But I don't see Eddie Hearn just throwing him in there with a Dillian White or Anthony Joshua. This is going to be a build-up. So once you understand that, you look to the other names in the division. I think this one makes too much damn sense. But let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Take the time to subscribe. Do all that good stuff. Like I say in every single video, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.